Dragon Ball Sparking Zero players on the Nintendo Switch 2 and Switch 1 have finally gotten the Hero of Justice pack, and we are going to get into some comparisons. But first, hit the like button to support the channel, leave a comment down below to let the algo know you want more Nintendo Switch fighting game content, and back to the video. So let me just start off with the very first thing that I noticed. You know, in the main menu, and this might not seem like a big deal, and maybe it's not, but it's an interesting thing that I noticed. I noticed back when the game launched on the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, the characters that you see in the main menu, like Trunks and Goten, Whis and Beerus or Master Roshi, and all of them, none of them had any voice lines in the Switch 1 or Switch 2 versions, when I know for a fact that they did on the Xbox Series S when I had it on that system. But with today's update, that's one of the things that they added back. I don't know if this is only for the Switch 2 or if this is also a change made to the Switch 1 version. It's not like I could just revert back to the old Switch edition or download it side by side unless I buy the entire game again, which I'm not gonna do. But if any of you have this on the old Switch and you bought the new update, just let everybody know. But that's a minor detail, really. Let's look on the eShop. So what we have that's now available to us is a couple things, really. We got the Sparking Zero Season Pass for $35. That's going to get you the DLC pack that just released today, and all the remaining packs for this season, which have yet to be released on Nintendo. Remember, the one that we got today is actually the very first one of several that was released over a year ago on the other systems. But if you don't want to pay $35 for this season pass, you can get the standalone version of the Hero of Justice pack for $18. So with this pack, what you're gonna get is Gohan from the superhero movie, his Super Saiyan transformation, his Ultimate Gohan form, and also his Beast Gohan form, which, let's be honest, that's the only thing that anyone really even wanted from this pack. I know that's the case for me. The pack also includes 4 versions of Piccolo, his superhero version and his Orange Piccolo regular and giant forms. Also included are the androids Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, as well as Cell Max. Piccolo also gets an alternate Red Ribbon Army costume. One thing to note here regarding the DLC is that if you're someone who is thinking of buying Dragon Ball Sparking Zero on your old Nintendo Switch and then later upgrading it to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, then you need to keep this thing in mind, and that is that the DLC packs are separate for the consoles. Meaning that if you buy this $18 pack for the original Nintendo Switch version of Sparking Zero, you will not be able to transfer that over if you ever upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Sparking Zero. You would end up having to buy the DLC again. So now let's take a look at what these DLC characters look like on the Nintendo Switch 2, starting with the man himself, Gohan, in his superhero movie form with the Namekian cloak. It does look like in the intro like there's some kind of weird issue with the lighting flickering. But all in all, I'm liking the way that he looks here, but I will say during his intro, there's no impact to the landing. You know, like when he lands and he has that super dramatic close-up of his face, there is zero impact to it. But visually, I would say it looks fine. And again, this is all Nintendo Switch 2 footage. Later on, I'm going to show some comparison shots with the PS5 edition. And in another video, I'm going to be comparing it to the old Switch edition as well. But what we've got here looks really, really cool. The Switch 2 edition stacks up pretty well, at least visually. It does run at 30 frames per second, but for this game, that's not really much of a deal breaker. But I do think that eventually we are going to get a 60 frames per second patch. Now, don't quote me on that, but I have a feeling that we're going to see that. Here's Orange Piccolo going at it with Gamma 1. Now let's cut to some side-by-side comparisons with the Nintendo Switch 2 and PlayStation 5 versions.